I was blown away when I first saw the new Google VO3's AI video generation. It not only looks pretty realistic, but it also generates audio and dialogue with it. The first thing I thought when I saw this was, can I make a movie with this? And that's what I'm about to do. In this video, I'll show you the process of how I made a movie with Google VO3. So I'm not going to have an AI write my script. I actually write short stories from time to time, and there's one in particular that I've always wanted to experience as a movie. So without further ado, let's get started. Well, unfortunately, the first thing I discovered is that VO3 does not support the reference images, and so I'm not going to be able to use those for my final product. So I'm just going to have to make do with giving their description in text each time and hope for the best. But let's see how this first prompt went.
Stories everywhere have been popping up about people getting murdered with knives.
Okay, I mean, it's close. I don't know why there's someone else in the room, and that is definitely the completely wrong voice. Nice headline as well. Okay, well, we'll have to try that again. Okay, I've slightly revised my prompt, and hopefully this is going to be a little bit better.
Stories everywhere have been
What?
popping up about people getting murdered with knives.
Oh no. Potital ban on Nitves. Yeah, that's real. Also, can we talk about he just boop? Alright, we're out. Oh no, that's tragic.
Stories everywhere have been popping up about people getting
It's
murdered
just-
with knives.
It's just not it. I mean, it looks a little weirder, and obviously, again, it's panning, and like, why is he sitting at a 90-degree angle to the TV? And they just cannot not do subtitles, even though I tried to specify there's no text. I think I'll use this one and just cut it after he turns it on, and then cut over to a new prompt. So let me generate that one next. Okay, here's my prompt for the TV screen.
Stories everywhere have been popping up about people getting murdered with knives. These dangerous tools are causing great harm to the citizens of this country.
So yeah, by not putting TV in there and just cutting to this particular scene, it looks much more natural, because this is one of the strengths of VO3, is just having a person that's just talking, you know, and that did it really well. So I think I'm going to use that and just kind of cut and imply that this is on the TV. So I prompted several times for the first opening shot, and this one was really interesting because we see our main character, he's snoozing on a couch in a dark living room, and after a moment, a harsh knock at the door startles him awake. He hears a muffled voice from outside, so let's see what it does for this one.
Open up. Urgent message from the Overlord.
So VO3 didn't really understand, like, there's a voice coming from outside. They're like, well, if there's a person, then they must be saying it, right? And then obviously the subtitles that we know and love from AI. That was a slight problem, so I think I'm just going to ignore this voice line. So for this next prompt, I decided to experiment with having his face in shock for a second. So he's a little more surprised, because in this one he looked, you know, a little too cheerful, a little too happy. Yeah, let's see what it comes up with. And you can see here, like, what? Who's running across the set? Like, man, when I saw this first, I wish I had caught my live reaction when I saw it first. Like, I would just laughed out loud, because, like, seriously? Alright, and here's the final prompt I did. This one I'm pretty happy with overall, except for this really weird audio thing, which let me just show you. I don't know what kind of knock that was, but it was like a snore sort of a thing. I don't even know. But I really like the framing of this, so I think I'm just gonna go with that. It's very natural. Like, this is very impressive. You know what's really funny? Watch this. He knocks at the end. Like, he walks up to the door and knocks, which is silly. But again, I can cut that ending part out and just use this clip. Alright, so I just finished prompting the AI several times for him walking over to the door to open it, right? And you would think, oh, that's an easy thing. But I think you will find it a little bit comical how the AI decides to open the doors. So here's my prompt. But yeah, let's just see what it does, 'cause it's interesting. Question mark? Yeah. Yeah, the door's here. Okay, we get it, right? Turns it, opens it, it hinges about in the middle on the wrong side, and then he closes it again, he changes his mind. So yeah, not super happy with this, and so I decided to, okay, let's try again. Let's see what he does this time. This room is good. I like the framing of this shot. Super impressive as he walks up to the door, by the way. So it's like, it's good up until now, and then sir, the doorknob isn't there. Oh, there we go. Oh, and it's locked. Okay, well, we didn't want the door to open anyways. It's fine. Yeah, so again, he's walking up. It looks great, and then he fumbles. All right, so this is pretty absurd. Well, it just gets worse. I mean, yeah. Again, he pushes it, and it pops open, and then he twists the handle. Like, yeah. But that's not all, folks. That is not all. Welcome to my final attempt in trying to get this man to open a door. I'm just gonna let this one speak for itself, alright? You know what? It deserves a full screen. It was so good, and then the cameraman's like, he's like, nah, bro, I got you, I'll help you. I know you're struggling. I know it's hard to open the door. But I got you. Like, what? It was so good. I mean, look at the detail. Like, it looks really cool, right? With the door latch like turning and everything. But man, the cameraman, he's got to keep his hands to himself. Like, come on, bro. So yeah, that one's tragic. But to be honest, I think I can salvage this first one, because he actually puts his hand on the doorknob correctly, and then cut to him, opening up the door or whatever. This is salvageable. I don't want to spend too much more time on this because I just gotta keep going. Here's another notable thing I just learned. If you separate two like lines with quotes, sometimes it just decides like, oh, this is two different people speaking, so I'm going to just use two different voices.
Greetings, Citizen B-1042. Guns are causing too many deaths.
The Overlord has decided to reacquire all citizens' firearms.
So he used two different voices there, and randomly it will sometimes just have subtitles and sometimes it won't. Obviously, AI subtitles leave something to be desired, so hopefully in the future models will leave this out more frequently. Alright, I just made one more shot. Let's see how this one goes.
Greetings, Citizen B-1042. Guns are causing too many deaths. The Overlord has decided to reacquire all citizens' firearms.
Wow, that's honestly really good. I'm super impressed with just how, relatively speaking, his speech and his like movements are pretty natural. So I'm super happy with this. And now begins the utter tomfoolery that this next shot has been. It's an absolute disaster. So many prompts, man. So many prompts. So these guys, they're invading his house. I described these guys as like muscular, right? They're like intimidating. But when I put muscular, the AI was like, oh yeah, so they're shirtless. I don't want them shirtless. Like, come on now. So I specified this time white collared shirt. But they're not following my instructions very well at all. I don't know, it could be workable, but again, I wanted to try again. And this one was good, except for, you'll see here, phases through just casually. Interesting choice. And then they run out, and it's like, it's not too bad, other than him phasing through the wall. Again, I could cut and just start here, of them running in or whatever. So it could be workable, but I'm not super happy with it either. So, moved on again. This time, they're supposed to be running into his house, but this time they're opening it and then going backwards, and they're supposed to be taking this as not putting them back, and you guys will see, this will make sense when you see the full movie. The AI has trouble sometimes with sequences of events, and it doesn't really understand the context either. Like, oh, they're breaking into a house and, stealing this and then leaving. And any person can kind of picture, like, oh, I get what that means. And the AI just, there's a lot of context stuff that it doesn't quite get just yet. So it's super impressive, and yet I'm still getting the vibes where it's like, we're not quite there yet in terms of like, oh, all movies are going to be AI generated now. We're not quite there yet. Hoping I can get something that's just a little bit better than what I've gotten so far, but I'm also going to have to move on soon, so I'm really hoping that this is going to be good. Okay, let's see what it cooked. Whoa! What? Oh, they almost made it back out. What in the world? I mean, that looks really cool, but it makes no sense. That's pretty epic. That is pretty epic. Definitely not what I'm looking for, and the black suit jackets, that didn't come through either, but that is really cool. So I'm thinking I might need to change tactics a little bit, and maybe not mention knives at all, because there are just way too many, and they're not really doing it properly. So maybe I should just have them, like, ransack the kitchen as a whole, and then maybe I could do another shot of them pulling out, like, a knife. Alright, so I just crafted another prompt. Let's see how it does. And one thing to note is that the video generation does take a little while. It takes several minutes per video generation, which is honestly fairly fast, all things considered, but it's also worth noting that, it does take a little while for them to cook. Okay, let's see what it came up with this time. Okay, wait. This is workable. Like, I can work with this. Honestly, this is pretty good. They're making a mess. They actually at least, like, walk out. So I can kind of edit that where they walk in, they do this, then they walk out and continue. Okay. Finally, I got something that's decent. I also appreciate how they have, like, the bass bumps of intense scenes in movies in the background. On to the next prompt. For this one, I'm going to try doing several pieces of dialogue all at once, so that way it gets the exact same shot that I can cut back and forth from for his several different lines. Alright, let's see how this goes.
What are you doing?
Even the butter knives?
I guess I'd better clean this mess up.
Close, but not quite. Alright, please work.
What are you doing? Even the butter knives?
I guess I'd better clean this mess up.
Oh man, it's having a really hard time, like, with that much dialogue. It really thinks it's someone else. But I think I can work with this, because I can just have him say that audio line as they're rummaging through the drawer. So I think I can work around this. So one thing I'm going to try to do next is actually remove any quotes I have, because that seems to influence them to pop up subtitles on the screen that I don't want. So I'm just going to try to use a colon to see if he'll still say it properly, but leave out any potential subtitles. What? It seriously just generated a fast thing? I hate... Sometimes it resets the setting thing, which one it does. I really wish they showed it somewhere, so I could see that I'm not wasting credits accidentally. Alright, this time we'll go again, but with the highest quality. Okay, let's see. Now, it's actually the right quality.
Haven't you heard? For your safety, the Overlord is outlawing knives to greatly lower crime rates. Well, knives are knives.
The lighting is not quite right, and the background is not quite right either. Well, let's see if this one is any better.
Haven't you heard? For your safety, the Overlord is outlawing knives to greatly lower crime rates. Well, knives are knives.
Well, the tone is definitely a lot better. Okay, this is great. So now I've got this scene wrapped up, and I can move on to the next one. So let me start writing some prompts for that. All right, finished up the prompt, and let's see what it cooks up. This time I'm gonna make sure that I set it to highest quality. All right, let's see.
Hey! What are you doing?
Wow, that's honestly really good. First try. Man, I wish more of these were like this, being really good first try. This really shines the light on what the AI video generation can really be, as it gets better. If it can first try be making really nice videos, like it would. All right, next prompt. Let's see if we can get another first try one. What is going on here? What? I am at a loss for words. Yeah, that ain't it. We go again. We go again. Okay, I edited the prompt, and we go again. Okay, this looks more promising. Okay, I mean, he's not doing it with great confidence, and he does a little magic hand shuffle there, but... and a small amount of clipping, but I mean... honestly, that's really good. I think that's good enough. You know what, actually? I want to try extending this shot and see if I can get him to load the couch in as well. Not exactly sure if this is going to work, but it's definitely worth an attempt. So let me just extend this. Okay, I made the prompt. Oh, switching you to a compatible model for this feature. Submit again to confirm. Okay, so it is only able to be fast in order to extend it? I mean, I guess I can try it and just see what happens. Okay, let's see what this did. What? Well, that is the last thing I expected. Holy cow. What is going on there? Okay, there's a reason that that's the VO2 fast setting. That's crazy. Well, it was an interesting experiment for sure. Let's just move on to the next prompt. Okay, let's see what it cooked.
There was a huge bar fight at the pub, and some drunks started whacking each other over the head with chairs. For your safety, the Overlord has decided chairs must go. There was a
I mean, I didn't ask for the accent, but that makes it like 10 times better, so I am A-okay with that. Okay, for this next prompt, I'm naming the characters, so that way, hopefully it won't get any of the characters confused. That way I can say, Jeremy asks Bill. So we'll see if that strategy works, for trying to keep this consistent. Come on, I really hope this works.
But where exactly am I gonna sit?
Good day to you, Citizen B1042.
Bro, it's backwards. It was good, except it's backwards.
Where am I gonna sit?
Good day to you, Citizen B1042.
That's so painful. All right, yo. The chairs have the screens on them. That's crazy.
But where exactly am I gonna sit?
Good day to you, Citizen B1042.
What? Oh boy. This is rough. We'll do one more try with this shot, otherwise I'm gonna have to simplify it or break it up.
But where exactly am I gonna sit?
Good day to you, Citizen B1042.
What?
where exactly?
Alright, I'm gonna have to break this up into like 2 shots. Alright, so I've wrangled up some more shots. None of them are amazing, but I can kind of cut a few of them and I can make something work from it. So I think I'm just gonna keep moving forward and try and finish this up. Alright, here's my next prompt. I couldn't exactly decide what I wanted him to say or do or whatever, so I'm gonna give the AI a little bit of freedom and see what he does when I just tell him to exclaim in frustration and exasperation. Alright, let's see what it cooked.
No. You can't do that.
It's not terrible, but he turns around too soon.
You can't do that.
I think I'm gonna try one more time here. Alright, let's see.
No, you cannot be serious!
Okay, that's definitely better than this one in terms of shot framing. I don't love how he turns toward the camera to say his line, though. It's good enough for now. I think I'm gonna move on and come back and redo it if I need to. Okay, I just recorded the next shot, and it's really good on the first try. I'm not gonna play it for you right now, because I don't want to spoil the ending, but this is looking really cool, and it's all coming together pretty nicely. Okay, so I'm working on some establishing shots now that the main story is done, and what is this? You can see, what is he standing on? Uh-huh. Yeah, that's very natural. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now let's get an establishing shot of the house itself. And I'm going to use a little trick and see if I can get the day and night shots, so it'll be the same house. Okay, that's not precisely what I had in mind, but it'll work out. I can just grab a still from, like, slightly darker and slightly lighter. Alright, and here's the final establishing shot that I needed. And it's kind of interesting that they did kind of like a time-lapse look. I don't really want that included, so I'll just crop it a little bit. But other than that, it looks good. Okay, and with that, I think I have all the shots I need to make the movie. Now that I've finished making the movie, I'll summarize my thoughts on VO3. Let's start with VO3's strengths. The audio and voices make every clip come to life, and the sound effects are quite believable. It's amazing that it bakes in these really nice sounds and dialogue with the video, which really helps with the filmmaking process. VO3 is also really good at simple scenes. Like, if it's just one person speaking, or one particular event or action, VO3 handles it quite nicely. Additionally, it often infers good details about the environment or subtle character motions. Alright, now let's move on to the weaknesses of VO3. The consistency is pretty bad for characters, voices, and environments. I thought this was going to be easier, because Google made it look like the ingredients to video feature would work for VO3, where you can add reference images. However, VO3 is currently only available using text to video. It's also not very good at understanding sequences of events. It quickly gets mixed up when things get a little too complicated and there's a little bit too much going on. I learned to break anything that was complex down into chunks. So, for example, I would have one overall general shot, like the kitchen scene where they're ransacking the kitchen, and then I break away to close-ups where specific important things can occur, for example, opening the cupboard or opening the drawer and taking the knives out. VO3 is also bad at keeping track of characters, like which person is saying or doing which thing in the scene. Some people have recommended naming your characters in your prompt, and then you can reference them later using their name. I tried this, and I did not see any real success with it, so that was unfortunate. It also randomly adds subtitles about a quarter of the time. I never really figured out how to fix this. Some people have said to leave out the quotes and use a colon instead, but that also didn't really seem to make a difference for me. It also, about half the time, adds black bars at the top and bottom of the screen for like the widescreen effect. And just like the subtitles, this is probably a result of the videos that the model was trained on. So hopefully the VO devs will figure out how to get rid of the subtitles and black bars in the future. So those were its strengths and weaknesses that I noticed in my experience with it. So now here's my overall review. It's still a super impressive tool, and video generation is just getting more and more realistic. With that being said, you've also seen how dumb the AI can be, and the weird results that it will often give. Would I recommend that you buy it? I would say, if this looks interesting or fun to play with to you from what you've seen, and you've got $125 to burn, you can go for it if you want. Just know going in that VO3's functionality is currently limited. For most people, I wouldn't recommend getting it yet. Wait for a while, let it improve, get more features, and hopefully get cheaper as time goes on. AI video generation technology is rapidly improving, so I'm really excited to see what's coming next. If you want to see the final movie, click here and enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.